Welcome again as our little corner tries another venue. In this case, it's been a year since we came here and we wouldn't miss it from the world. For those of you who have ever been to Westport in Essex County in northern New York State, you know this is the Essex County Fair. Not just any Essex County Fair, but a 150th celebration, the sesquicentennial. We've been involved in quite a bit of history this summer. We recently did a program in Port Henry and Mineville, just 10 miles south of here, celebrating the mining and railroading industries and the opening of a brand new mining center, museum, and heritage park in Port Henry. That was a wonderful occasion. Lots of great speeches and some pretty good punch, I might add, even though Calvin got a cookie and I didn't. And an hour after that, on this 20th day of August, 1998, we stopped back here at the Essex County Fair. Now, normally at this point in the program, we'd be interviewing Fair Manager Ernie Lapine, but we understand that he had some very important duties to perform. We think he went home to feed the cat, but it wasn't supposed to be public information. Those people who know me and Calvin know we're going to divulge whatever we learn, so don't ever tell us any secrets. I see in the distance over there some of the old antique tractors. I believe that's the spot where we wrapped up our program in the 1997 Essex County Fair, and I said thank you to all our listeners. And Calvin says, viewers! It dawned on me that we had pictures on Hometown Cable. There are a lot of great things to see and do. We met a lot of great people here. You always meet wonderful people at the fair. This year already, we've done programs at the Franklin County Fair, not to be confused with the Malone Fair, although they're one and the same. And we did a kind of a preview of the Clinton County Fair because I happened to be out of town. Well, that fair was on and we didn't get to it. But once again, the gods are with us for the 150th, a beautiful sunshiny day. And we're going to look around, interview some people, and see some sights at the 150th Essex County Fair. Well, you know, if Gordy Little's here, we can't be too far away from the horse barns. We have to find the people who are racing and having fun. And I got to tell you that the sulkies were going around the track just a very few moments before we got here. And as we got in, we had to wait for just a minute. Now, standing right next to me, we called him a legend in his own time. And he really is. Jack Connell, how are you, my friend?
I'm good.
I'm just terrific. We went to Malone Fair, and I'm going to call it Malone Fair till the day I die, even though they told me to call it the Franklin County Fair a couple of weeks ago. And we got down there and got around the horse barns, and everybody was saying, where's Jack? Where's Jack Connell? Our good friend Howard Manaley was saying, Jack Connell's not here this year. Now you got to tell us why you're not racing this year so everybody will know. What's going on?
I'm taking the summer off.
You know, there's nothing wrong with doing that, taking the summer off. I dare say you've been to at least 100,000 horse races in your career.
Oh, yeah. Many.
The first time I ever met you in your living room, you were going around pointing out the pictures and the trophies. You'd have to have 6 horse barns full if you were going to show them all. When did you start in the horse business, Jack?
50s. The 50s. 58, 59.
That's pretty good. He's only 58 or 59 right now. He was a child prodigy.
Yeah.
Well, did you like horses when you were a little kid, Jack?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really?
Loved them, yeah.
Oh, then all of a sudden you got some of your own.
Yeah.
And then the fever grew.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first race you ever won?
Yeah. Golden O'Day.
Where was it?
Up in Governor.
Oh, Governor!
Yeah.
I haven't been up there in a long time. We go over to the Malone Fair every year and come to this one and try to get a little piece or two over at the Clinton County Fair, but that was the first one for you, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I bet your feet never hit the ground.
No.
How many horses have you owned over the years?
Oh, gotta be 150 maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
And I got to tell our viewers, in case anybody out there has never heard the name Jack Connell, you've had some amazing horses, even in the last few years. What's the best horse you ever owned?
Jack Hugh Brooks.
That has to be Jack Sue Brooks.
150 and 1.
Oh, wow. Where?
And the Mender Ranch.
Isn't that a 150 and 1?
Yep.
Whoa!
Yep.
You know, a lot of people don't know how you name your horses. Now, that's kind of neat. I thought that was a real neat. Everybody has a different way of naming their horses. We know who Jack is.
Yeah. And my wife, my whole dad called her Sue. Her name was Shirley, and they called her Sue. So we put Jack and Sue, Jacsue. And then we named them any name we wanted to.
Put anything you want on there.
We named them after all my kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jack Sue Kermit.
Yeah.
Named after our son Dale, whom we've always called Kermit. We got to tell our viewers, in case somebody's watching this program for the first time, turned it on, want to know who in the heck are these funny guys talking on television. It just happens that Jack's daughter married our son, and we're all one big happy family. But boy, Jack, after all those years, all those racetracks from here to, I don't know, what's the farthest away you ever raced?
No, Maine maybe. New Hampshire. Yonkers.
You name it. Saratoga.
Hold up, many times.
No controversies ever in Saratoga, though,
No,
right?
no.
A lot of things go on behind the scenes in horse racing that it's sometimes better that the general public doesn't know about.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it isn't all fun and games sometimes.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Sometimes
A lot of
you
tough
gotta
going.
Fight for everything, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yep.
But you know, people who enjoy horses are the nicest people in the world.
I don't know.
And well, you know, at least in the public anyway, and I think you're a pretty good guy. And long before I ever met you, I grew up across the road from the Gales down in Malira.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, the Gales are still running.
Oh, yeah.
Were they here today, you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The grandchildren.
Yeah, can't be the old folks
No.
anymore.
Yeah.
I think I went to school with a couple of the Gales with young Bob and
Bobby and Kerry.
and yep.
And I bought Golden on Day for my grandfather.
Did you really?
Truman, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So you guys rubbed elbows at lots of fairs. huh?
Many, many, many times, yeah.
So you raced for 40-some years
Yeah.
and decided to hang up your
Well,
sulky.
well, maybe not yet.
Never say die, Michael Jordan. Way to go. You just don't know what the future holds ever, but
No, we don't.
I tell you, you're looking great, Jack.
Not bad.
Well, you made it to Westport. What
Yeah.
else can you want on a given day,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
Had a lot of horses, had a lot of fun, had a lot of ups and downs, but doesn't it seem weird to be sitting in the stands?
Oh, I guess it does.
Doesn't it seem just a little bit weird?
Awful. Uneasy.
You just want to be making those funny little sounds to your horses and
Yeah.
flicking those reins in just the way. We're looking at is that an old sulky over there? Way
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah, a long time ago. Before my time.
That wooden spoke wheels. We saw it was for sale. I think I can't see it, but it's $500 and something. I don't have any need for one right now because I don't have a horse, and I'm sure Kay wouldn't go along with pulling it for me. But yeah, sulkies have changed a little bit over the years, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cut a bit, boy.
Yeah, some of them now have solid wheels with spokes inside. I guess that's to cut down on the drag or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You drove the horses yourself for a long time. Then you
Yeah.
had other people helping you out
Yeah.
along the way.
Mm-hmm. I had 2 or 3 in the same race, you know.
Yeah, very often. And all your kids always involved with horses around them their whole lifetime.
Cut a bit, yep.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
tell our viewers that Jack lives on his own road. I mean, it's nice to have a road named after you called the Connell Road out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice little spot down there at the end of the world.
Yeah.
Well, so you've had a good summer, Jack,
Yeah, good summer.
but you missed the
You're bound to miss it.
How could you help it after all those years? He's got sawdust in his bones, this guy. Jack, I want to thank you very much for stopping to talk to us. You're our first interview this year at the Essex County Fair. I know you haven't been coming back here for 150 years.
No.
Neither have I, but you've been coming back here for a long, long time, and I imagine you'll be to a few more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And who knows, maybe in 1999 there'll be a Jack Sioux something going around this track. You never know.
They might be, yeah.
You never know. Jack, we'll see you at the next family reunion.
Okay, good.
Keep
Good.
smiling,
Yeah.
Jack.
Okay.
Jack Connell, Gordy Little, Calvin, just looking around here for hometown cable at the Essex County Fair. Well, you never know who you're going to run into at the Essex County Fair. Seems like deja vu now because we ran into this guy walking down through here last year. Gary Finney, how are you?
Good. How are you, Gary?
I saw you waved at Jack Connell on the way. We talked about his horse, Jack Sioux Kermit, and Kermit is a nickname for our son that married his daughter, and Jack Sioux Kermit holds a track record here.
I think Jack's related to everybody in the North Country.
He is related to everybody. He knows all the snowplows from here to Mariah too, you know. So, Gary, what have you been doing since we talked to you last time? You've been a busy guy.
Yeah, we sure have. That's what we're down here for. Is at 5:30 we go on here. We've been playing on the stage up there every afternoon for the horse racing, and then we'll be here at 5:30. We formed a group called the Upstate New Yorkers, and we went down to Nashville and recorded.
I heard all about that. Yeah. But now you got some big stuff coming up.
Yeah, we're going to Syracuse on the 25th and the 26th of September. And we're working right now on a deal in Dumfries, Virginia, which is just outside of Washington.
Dumfries, Virginia?
Yeah. We're having a lot of fun.
Did you ever, I mean, of course, you've been involved with music since you were knee-high to a grasshopper, as my father used to say,
Yeah.
but now you're starting to do some really fun stuff.
Yeah, we're having a great time. We're having a lot of fun. We got to contact Nashville, and we aren't making any money, but we're having a lot of fun.
That's what I was going to say. After all these years, it's time to cash in and get a little payback for all that hard work working for $15 a night. But you've had a great time.
Oh, yeah, we have. And in the group, the Upstate New Yorkers is Tommy Venn from over.
Oh, that's why Tommy was carrying the
Sure,
speakers
yeah,
out.
Tommy's here,
Just because he's the strongest guy out here.
And Donnie Perkins is fiddling with us, and then we have Eric O'Hara from up Galvin's way, and this man over here from Nashville's up here with us this week. And if you want to catch him, he's a great guitar player.
Really? Good stuff?
Amazing. Yeah, he's worked with Chet Atkins, and he worked with Jimmy Dickens, and he worked with Patsy Cline, and he's worked with them all.
We did a little column in the newspaper a while back about some of the old-time musicians here, and we were talking, and what inspired it was the fact that I met Chet LaValle, walked into a place where we were having food a few weeks ago, and he walked in on his 83rd birthday, and his son brought him in there to take him out for the night. And, you know, the guy looks so young, and then all of a sudden I get this flood of memories about the Cadillac Club and the 13 Morgans.
Chet, remember Lynn King?
And Lynn King and Hap Lemaire and Herbie Rock.
Herbie.
And yeah, we've had a lot of good music down through the years.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It's too bad to see all those years fly that fast, you know?
Well, it's too bad to see that there aren't other groups coming around that are as good as some of those old-timers. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen if you guys ever decide to disband, because you've been a fixture for so long.
Well, we've had we just have a good time. We aren't very important with it, but we have a good time.
I think you're pretty important. Finally, the world is beginning to recognize you. That's got to make you feel a little better.
Well, it's kind of nice. In fact, WSCP down in Syracuse is our album is really big down there, and they're playing it just constantly, and that's why we're doing this show. And same thing in Dumfries, Virginia, the radio station WANT down there is playing us regularly. Yeah.
WANT.
Want.
Oh, Want station. Oh, that's neat. Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe some of the big guys will pick it up.
We just sent a CD down to. We had a station in Lebanon, Tennessee, which is just right outside of Nashville. We just sent a CD down to them also, so they're gonna.
I can't wait to hear it. I had no idea what all the stuff you were doing about.
I'm gonna leave you a tape. I'm gonna give you a taper, and I'll go out of the car, so you'll be able to hear what you're doing.
Calvin and me can do some mighty good jiving on the way home here, huh?
Yes,
who's this gentleman over here? I want to talk to him. Is this your buddy?
This is Bob Saxon from down in Nashville. He's
Bob Saxon, Gordy Little, and Calvin Castine here.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys, and it's just wonderful to be back here. I was here with Mr. Gary and the Upstate New Yorkers back in 90, 91, and 92, and I've been looking forward to getting back here. Last year I was in Alaska. I was supposed to be here, but I'm glad to be here now.
Alaska? How the heck did you end up in Alaska?
I was 2 years with the Air Force, and then I've got relatives up there, and I go up and play churches and prisons, kind of that ministry.
Got back from Germany.
Yeah.
2 weeks in Germany, and you were just inducted into the Country Hall of Fame in the state of Mississippi just the day before.
Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. That had to be a good feeling.
Yes, sir. It's wonderful, and I just thank and praise God for all these wonderful opportunities. And we're going to be picking about 5:30 over here, and all through the rest of the week. You know, the time is just getting away. I got here Sunday on my birthday, and
happy birthday a little bit late.
And the time has just been flying because I'm enjoying it so much, and everybody's just so great. And it's wonderful here at the Essex County Fair, and good to meet you, and thank you so much.
Well, wait a minute. You're not done yet. Don't just rush away. This isn't one of these soundbite television stations here. We got to exhaust the subject entirely. We know how this guy got into the music business. How did you first get attracted to it?
My mother and her brothers, 7 brothers, they all played, and she had a little Gene Autry guitar. And it would be down on the floor, and I'd grab it by the strings and get it up and try to play it about 3.5, 4 years old. And from that point on, just listening to radios and watching other people and jamming. You know.
Well, you know, back in those days, the radio was the medium that you played on. You made your little tours around every weekend, huh?
Battery operated. Yeah.
But you played on radio stations live. When I started in the radio business, and Gary knows I was in the business for a long time, we had live bands on the air.
Yeah, we played those radio stations early in the morning. We'd have coffee and donuts and then go do our program. And my goodness, we'd play these schools. You know, that was popular. You see these cars going by with the bands, and their old bass fiddle, they called them bull fiddles, would be on the top. And that was a lot of good times. That was back in the early. Oh, gosh, I was born in 32, you know, so that makes me kind of old.
Good, great memories, though, huh?
Yes, sir. And in Germany, it was wonderful over there. All the people were really responsive and receptive, and I was also with the group, the Richard Smith guitar trio from London, England, were with me, and Pat Kirtley from up in Kentucky, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful
You played with my buddy Chet Atkins?
Yeah, we shared the stage together back in July of 94, and then just recently at the Chet Atkins Appreciation Society, which was July 29th through the August the 1st. He was there. He's doing better. His hair is growing back, you know, from his illness. And his coordination's not up there, but he was in his good spirits, you know. He told the people, said, now I think they're signaling me to get down here. I'm going to try to get down the stairs without busting my...
He's just such a super guy. Watched him for a long time and then listened to him on a wonderful public radio presentation, Prairie Home Companion. He spent a lot of time playing with those people there. The man, just an inspiration for anybody who ever played music, right, Gary?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man.
Well, Bob's played with Merle Travis and Jimmy Dickens and Charlie Louvin and Patsy Cline and Billy Walker. Carl Perkins.
Might as well drop a few names.
Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps.
Be my Palula. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy Dickens. I can remember, let's say it was 1951, maybe early 1952. And he showed up at the Franklin Academy, put on a show at Franklin Academy in Malone, I remember as a high school kid.
Back in, I don't know what year it was, but Bob was up here playing with us down here at the fair. 91. Little Jimmy was up here playing. So we went up after we got through our show here. We went up, and Bob walked around in the back, and little Jim was putting down strings on his guitar. And Bob says, "Tater, you need a roadie?" Jimmy looked around. He said, "My God, Bob Saxon, what are you doing way up here?"
He thought thought you were both displaced for a minute there.
Yeah, he tells a story everywhere he travels about me saving his life while he's in Anchorage, Alaska, back in the 50s, and people wonder what he's talking about. Well, he came up there without his band, and so I was the only guitarist that knew his material, and he was there for 2 weeks in this club, and so I played with him all his shows, and so that's what he means by I saved his life.
I bet you, Gary, in Alaska, when this guy gets up on stage and says it's nice to be in this club, I wonder what those people up in Anchorage must think about that.
I bet you $100 they know he never had skis on before.
That is the most charming accent I've ever heard in my life. We were talking about Chet and the Four Notes, and I got a wonderful letter from Chet the other day with a picture of his big 16-piece big band out there near Tucson, Arizona. And he's got a little trio that he plays with regularly, and a lot of these people played with the big bands back in the 1930s and 40s, so there's still a market for your kind of music and a market for their kind of music. You can't beat the old-time music, but in his letter, he told me about a trick he pulled on, you mentioned Lynn King.
Yeah.
Lynn King was always pulling jokes. You know, Lynn was a drummer. And Chet would go on stage, and Lynn would give him a little goose with a drumstick to get him started, to help him up the stairs. And this one night, Chet decided that he was going to pull a joke, so he took a starter pistol and he put it in his inside pocket, right? And he said to Lynn, he says, I don't feel like doing much of a show tonight, so don't be screwing around with me. I'm just going to go up on the stage, and you can do what you want to do, but don't touch me, don't get near me, don't bother me, you know. They didn't tell Herbie Rock about it either. Hap knew about it, but Hap was the only one that knew about it. So he got up on the stage, and never mind, Lynn didn't care. He still gave him the goose with a drumstick. And he did this bit where Chet would fall down and throw the bass up in the air, and the bass would fall down on him. Of course, it wouldn't break, and everybody would cheer and laugh. Well, Lynn King did it twice, and each time he did it, Chet would get madder and madder and madder. And finally, he walked up to him with all the people there and poked him in the chest and said, you son of a so-and-so, you did this the last time. And he goes, bam, 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 bam. And Lynn knocked the table over. He thought he was dead meat. And he's flopping around on the floor. Finally realized he was going to live. And he ran into the men's room and locked the door and wouldn't come out for half an hour. And of course, Herbie Rock didn't know, so he was under the piano saying, don't shoot me, dear God, don't shoot me. And of course, Hap fell down with his saxophone, and he's laughing like crazy.
Those were good times, weren't they?
Those were good times, and I bet you could come up with about 15 other great stories of things that happened.
I tell you.
Things that are unplanned on the stage, where amps don't work, people don't show up.
Yeah. We showed up. We had a gig one time. We got there, and the drummer got lost getting there. We had to do a New Year's Eve gig without the drummer. Try that sometime.
He got lost on the way?
That's what he said.
Oh, that's great. Hey, listen, guys, thanks for stopping by. You're the highlight of the day so far.
I appreciate it. Just quickly, while I was in Germany, I didn't know much German to speak, just Gesundheit and Wiedersehen and that stuff. But one time this German sneezed, and I said, Gesundheit. He said, yeah, you speak good German.
I love it. Sneezed again. I'll say the same thing all over again.
At 5:30. You just listen to this man.
We'll probably be around. Have a great day, guys. Nice to meet you, Bob. Good luck in everything you do.
See you later. See you later.
No, it's not supposed to rain.
I like happy people, and Ernie Lapine's one of the happiest people I know. Just before the camera started, he looked up and said, it's not supposed to rain, is it?
Never.
Gordy? Tell me it's not supposed to rain. That's the Clinton County Fair.
No, Tom says it's not going to rain. I looked to the sky to see.
Is Tom going live here tonight?
Tom's going live here tonight. We're going to put him on a horse and send him to Vermont.
That'll get you at least 16 extra people here when somebody asks us when we walk by with our little hometown cable camera and microphone. Oh, I see you brought your white truck over there. I said, yeah, along with our white horse, which we left out by the road. Ernie, it's been a year since we did it.
It has.
And this is the number 150.
150. I remember you were here for the second one while I was here for the first one.
We've had a lot of fun going around interviewing some of the people we know. We met Jack Connell up there who raced horses for years. Took the summer off this year, and he was twitching so much I could hardly talk to him.
Jack has missed his horses tremendously. Yeah. Yes. It's the first time that I can remember we didn't have a Jack Sioux here. Really it is.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
We got. I noticed the Jack Sioux Kermit right up there on the board that sets the record for this track.
Track record.
The Jackson Institution, as many of the other families, and as long as we're on that subject, might as well talk about it because Jack told me it's the fine art of horse racing is dying a death because a lot of the young people just don't want to get involved.
And they can't afford it. You small fairs, of course they can't pay the big purses out like Saratoga, so a lot of these small owners, they can't do it. A lot of people have gone broke with the horses, and they're finding that out.
He and I both remember the days when that grandstand would be full. They'd be hanging off the sides, and down in that first turn, they'd be 5 people, 6 people deep when the horse races came.
Definitely. And you take pictures back in the early 1900s here in this fairground, this used to be the social event of the year, any fair. They would come in their suits or ties, and the ladies would come in their big hats and their things. We got pictures of them sitting on the turns up here, family, just with family events. They come by train, they come by boat, trucking their cattle by boat and train and bring them here. This was a big event, But now with travel so easy and so many amusement parks and so forth, fairs have to change their whole philosophies and so forth, and that's what we're trying, but, and we're a small area, but we keep trying to get the people here. And I'll tell you, we've got a lot of things, but to get the people, I don't know how we're going to do it.
It's very difficult to get them hanging from the rafters for anything anymore, never mind a fair. You would think that they'd come to see you for the 150th. Maybe there's going to be a few surprises. We got a few days left. How many more days?
2 more days. 2 more days. Tomorrow we got Hank Williams III, and then of course the Demolition Derby. They'll pack it for the Demolition Derby, rain or shine.
What was it they said at the Malone Fair? They did have one night of rain for the Demolition Derby. They run 2 derbies down there, I think. And people turned out in the droves to watch them go in the mud.
Oh yeah, I can remember back 15, 20 years ago when I was taking tickets out here, it poured on a Saturday. And this elderly woman came through and she wanted to know if the Demolition Derby was going on. I said yes, and she's old goody, and away she went right to the grandstand, right in the mud.
Oh, that's great. People who haven't been to the Essex County Fair for a while should come back because it is a great tradition. And when you can do something and sustain it for 150 years, you must have done something right along the way.
Oh yeah, a lot of things right. I'll tell you, you look down back here, and I don't know, the wood carver, we got a wood carver out of Malone who just won first place at the Tupper Lake wood carving up there. We've got.
And we just happened to be up there when that happened, too. He's such a neat guy.
He is. Woody's a fantastic guy, He comes here, and people look forward to him. How many fairs can you go to and go into the conservation area and see native animals live that were in this area? The Canadian lynx, the cougar, the wolf. And you go to look at the taxidermy stuff right there. There's some of the best you're at. Look, you see that elk down there? You can't beat this stuff. You really can't. And people just a lot of times they don't see when they walk through a fair.
Yeah.
They go to a fair, but they don't see, and that's a problem that happens. People, I didn't see it. We got a train set inside this building here. The guy had a stroke a few years ago, and now he devotes his time. One side's pretty near paralyzed, but he devotes his time. He made a train set with the carnival inside it.
Come on.
Oh yeah, you go in afterwards, take a picture of it.
We're going to check that out.
Yeah.
How did you acquire that?
He worked here for me for quite a while. He and I worked together. He would help us with the light wiring and the plumbing and whatever, and shortly afterwards, I just went down and I said, hey, Duffer, you got that train, let's put it in. Great. He loved it. He was up here for 3 days putting it together and just doing it. And you take a look at it. It's just great. Down at Floor Hall, you look at some of the old-time stuff down there. We got a sewing machine down there that's 5 generations old. And they demonstrate doing it. We make ice cream down there. All these little things, they're just so unique here at this fair, and we just got to keep it going.
You told me, Ernie, last year what the oldest building was. What is it?
Well, it's either Floor Hall and the grandstand. They were both that we know. The picture in here was 1888. The guy standing there, sitting on a horse, and old Alvin Burt, and that grandstand was there. And we know that was about 1884, 1888 that the Floor Hall was built.
We're talking 110 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, long time. So.
And a lot of the exhibitors come back year after year, and we talked to several people down there who said, "Oh, I like it here at this fair. It's a nice sized little hometown fair."
I think that's a secret. I had a guy, he just stopped in. He's been here with me ever since I've been doing the fair. He's been one of the concessionaires on the Upper Grand. And he came in, he said, I had to come, no matter if I couldn't come up and sell, because he said, you people are family.
That's the way it goes.
He said, so many fairs I go to, he said, and I work, and he said, it's just strictly show business. He said, it's no fun. He said, I come here, and he said, and you people treat us like family. He says, you walk down, you talk to us, you say hi, and he said, you mean it.
And you
and
mean
I
it.
said, that's our
That's
people.
the name of the game. We're going to change our battery and be right back. And there they go. We're still here. Channel 5's moving. I think Calvin just wanted to show that Vermont plate on the
That's all
back
he's
of
going
it.
to do is show that 14 CO9 on there.
Listen, Calvin had a good question for me when you just ran inside when we were changing batteries. He said, I wonder if Ernie's this popular all year round. Is it just for the 5 days of the
I
fair?
think it's 5 days.
Hollering, Ernie, Ernie.
I think it's just, I don't think it's that popular. It's just that no one else is around.
You have to be a jack of all trades to do what you do.
We do a lot, and I'll tell you, it's not just inside work. Another guy and myself, Lynn, who's the secretary treasurer, Lynn Lobdell and myself, we do a lot together. You know, we do the grounds, we help with it, and plus the inside work and everything else. So actually, this is our easy week. It is. I mean, if it isn't done before now, it's too late.
Well, that's one way to look at it, but people may think, well, they've been doing it for 150 years. The fair's a far gone conclusion. Everything just sets itself up and takes care of itself. It takes you all year to plan for this.
Oh yeah, plus, I mean, we've already started on next year's and already. You don't wait until the last minute. So a lot of people say, well, I suppose you're getting ready for the fair, and that's in about June or July. I said, yeah, about a year ago we started, so.
But you told me you started out, what, selling tickets here many years ago?
Probably 25 years ago. Started out selling tickets on the front gate or more. I can't remember. It's close to 30 years ago, I guess, that we did it. And then eventually moved into the office, and that's because it was right across from the ticket booth, and I figured it was an easier run. And then they moved us out back here.
I want to know how many times you've gone home at night saying, I'm never going to do that again.
Let's see. Every night this. But Lynn and I are both retiring at the end of this year.
Are you really?
Yeah. Well, we've both retired from our jobs, and he wants to travel, and my wife has to work for another 4 or 5 years. So I want to do something else. But I'm like you, you get through one and you got to do something else.
You got to do it. You can't be sitting still, and it's fun being out doing something. But I think you've paid your dues, Ernie.
Well, and it's time, that like anything else, you need new blood, and with new blood comes new ideas, and with new ideas comes growth. Let's hope, and that's what we're looking at. We've got to have some growth, and we're growing. We got to keep growing, and that's what we need is that new blood to help us keep growing.
Before we move around and check into some more of the exhibits, just tell us some of the things that are on the fairgrounds. Just go right around in your mind and tell us what's here.
Well, I'll tell you something unique right now is we've had the post office here we'll have them all 5 days for a special cancellation. Usually it's a one-day thing, and this year we got them here for all 5. They've had special cancellation, regular post office set up on it. As I mentioned before, Woody, the wood carver, the miniatures, we got a hypnotist here, fantastic hypnotist. We got a little girl that lives just south of the school here. She was at Clinton County Fair. She's been to how many fairs? She's won the karaoke. She's 8 years old, and I'll tell you, that girl's fantastic. Her name is Juliana Johnson. She's been singing for us every day here. People just love to hear her sing. She sounds a lot like Leanne Rimes. And yodel, oh, yeah. I'll tell you, she should be on a rut now, and if you get a chance, she'll be on down there at about 5:30. You ought to get on and listen to her and tape her.
We know that Gary Finney and the group are going to be cranking it up after that, and no, I didn't notice that rain. That was a low-flying seagull, Ernie. Yeah. That couldn't have been rain.
That's liquid sunshine.
Oh, man, where's Messner when we need him? So what else have you got here?
We've got a nice petting zoo down here. Of course, we've got 2 or 3 nice herds came in from Vermont to be in our barns. They're loaded with horse. Inside Floral Hall, we have, as I said, we got demonstrations going on with the antique sewing machine. We've got a lot of heritage stuff going on for us. Upper Midway filled with exhibitors, filled with concessionaires. Tonight we got the antique tractor and regular tractor pull, farm tractor pull. Hopefully that's something new we're going to try this year. Hopefully it'll work out. You never know. If it rains, it's going to do us again. But Yeah, as I said, I think one person summed it up last night. They said they started up from Floral Hall, and all the way up through there was something for them to stop and see. No matter if it was the saw, the animals, the wood carver, the concessionaires, the magician, the hypnotist, and we got cloggers coming in at 7 o'clock tonight.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
7 o'clock, we got cloggers coming in, so people that don't want to go up to the show, they can stay down here and have something going for them till about 8 o'clock. So it is. We got constant entertainment for them on the upper midway from, let's say, today it was probably from 1 o'clock on. We got your favorite from up your way, Dottie and the Golden Notes coming tonight. You know Dottie.
Dottie and the Golden Notes, yes. Doesn't everybody?
Dottie will be here. And so, these are little things that people like to see. Homegrown, local entertainment, homegrown things, Homemade ice cream's gone over well. I mean, it looks like the three of us have probably sampled some of it.
Speaking for yourself, man.
I know Calvin there, he'd have to buy shorter pants.
Where did I see a picture in the paper that Ben & Jerry's now has a new brand called Totally Nuts?
Yeah.
People are
totally nice.
Oh, man, I said to my wife, bring a bowl. Let's get some of that stuff. Ernie, lots of people will thank you, I'm sure, for all the years you've spent here, but let me offer my personal congratulations from Hometown Cable and from me, Gordy Little, and from Calvin. You've done a massive job here over the years. They're going to be hard put to fill your shoes.
Oh, no, your shoes are always filled. They can always be. There's always somebody to replace you. And, that's what they said when we retired from teaching. How we got it's very easy. Somebody walks in, they sit down at my desk, and it's taken over. And that's it.
You're like to think that you're indispensable at least for 5 minutes, but they do have a way of doing that.
Yeah, you say three years down the road, they're going to say, who?
Yeah.
So, but, it's fun while it lasts. It really has. I mean, I've enjoyed all the time, but it's just it's time to say.
Yeah, sayonara, goodbye, so long, right. See you later. Ernie?
Fear will always be in my blood, and, but it's time.
Do it.
Yep.
Ernie, thanks again. You're a good friend. Best of luck.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you, Calvin. Good seeing you. I'm going to miss you in soccer this year, too. Because you or your brother are always there. He did better work than you, but
You aren't kidding, Ernie. This is neat.
Yeah. Neither supposedly reproductions. These were made by his brother, Alan Borden. And reproductions of our cattle barns and from our horse barns down there. Conservation area.
Oh, yeah.
The track. They made a track. This replica. They had the grandstand and the bleachers, the stage, judges stand, the whole work. And these are the horse barns. The horse barns in back, the show ring down back, and the parking up in the campground area. Everything that's like a reproduction of what we have. And this is supposedly the carnival area.
Of course.
So they did an excellent job.
Irwin Duffer Borden.
Irwin Duffer Borden. His son made the track, and his brother made all the buildings. So
that's really neat. We actually tried to plug it in, but it didn't work. We were going to have it chugging around there, but it didn't work. What else have we got inside this building, Ernie?
You got some baby ducks over there.
Oh, we do?
Oh, yeah. You got some cute little baby ducks. This is all 4-H displays. These are what the kids made in 4-H throughout the county.
Oh, no wonder I saw the younger Mr. Connell here, huh?
Yeah. They've done some nice work. Someone did an excellent job on a chair.
Oh, look at the baby ducks. Look at this. Is this neat or what? Aren't they beautiful?
Down the slide, and, into the water.
4-H is alive and well. It's been an organization that's been around as long as I can remember.
Yeah, and it's one that's it's like everything else. It's fighting, because they want to cut the salaries down and cut the funding and everything else to go along with it. But it's an organization that has to keep fighting for what it gets. But this organization has helped a lot of young people. I mean, how many of us started out in 4-H?
Oh, my goodness, and how long have they been connected with fairs?
Yep.
Look at all the bluebird houses and all kinds of neat stuff here.
That chair is a neat, nice chair.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, yeah, because it's a different pattern that
Yeah. Oh, won a blue ribbon by the looks of it.
It did, won a blue ribbon.
How many kids have brought cattle to the fairs and got their ribbons, whatever color they were, and proud to be part of it,
They have. Only thing this year, as I said, our cattle thing have cut down in the 4-H because, one, they have to in the field still trying to get hay down, and they didn't have time.
Well,
And
that's
two,
true.
the number of farms in Essex County have dwindled down, so we don't have that many cows left in the county.
Every year we have to point that out because it's a sad part of the
I think
times.
somebody told me there are 13 farms left in all of Essex County.
Can that be true?
50-something a few years ago, down to 13.
Oh, life is not too easy for farmers. We've said it on this program at every fair we visited because the farmers are what it's all about.
It is. That's why it was called the agricultural fair.
Well, I'm just looking around here at some of the other neat stuff that the kids have put together and parents, and we got all kinds of great stuff in the building. Ernie, thanks a lot. See you later. Congratulations to all the youngsters and their parents and other supporters who've been a part of, once again, a part of the Essex County Fair for the 150th year. And here's a little girl with a very big voice, Juliana Johnson, as you can see by the banner behind her, the little cowboy sweetheart, who has captured the hearts of people not only here in the Westport area, which she calls home, but all over the North Country and the other fairs as well. She's going to sing a couple more songs, and then hopefully on our program called Our Little Corner, we'll get to interview the Tyke and her mom and her dad, because she is just that good. People love to come around. We have a nice little crowd here. Unfortunately, the rain has come on over the last few minutes, but people are glad to get under the tent. So what do you say we listen to the rest of the song?
Usually just mix our music up and play the wrong song. This is one we named her after, so this is her theme song.
Bye, guys.
thank everyone for coming. She'll be here again Saturday at 4:30.
Got a little country music going in the background from another band entirely, and we just finished a little country music right here on this stage. This is the only way I can get on this stage is to interview you. How are you, Juliana Johnson?
Good.
The little cowboy sweetheart. That's a wonderful outfit. Did your mom make that?
No.
She didn't? A store-bought?
Yes, we bought it.
You're only about as big as a minute. Do you know what that means?
No.
It's only, well, it's about this tall. You are 8 years old? That can't be true. You got to
Yeah.
be at least 23 to have a voice like you have. I bet you cried real loud when you were a little baby. No?
Yes.
You had to have a little practice in that voice. How long have you been singing songs?
Till I was 5 years old.
That's 1, 2, 3 years. You got all of that repertoire in 3 years? How many songs do you know the words to?
I'd say about 11.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Seemed to me like you sang at least 11 songs today.
Yeah.
You never have to look at the words? I
No.
thought this was karaoke. I mean, aren't the words on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed you very carefully, and you looked at the audience, you smiled, you danced, you clapped your hands. It's almost like you enjoy singing.
Yeah.
You really do? How did you decide you wanted to be a singer?
Well, I did see Leanne Rimes on television, and I started singing with her.
I should have known. The little Leanne Rimes, and she started when she was pretty young too, right?
Yeah.
So what do you hope to do? You've been at the fairs, you've been singing everywhere this year, and I heard you're going to take some trips. You might even go to the state fair.
I want to be a singer when I grow up.
You think so? Guess what I think? I think you're already a singer. You can only get better.
Yeah.
And our viewing audience who may have seen a little bit of your last song know that that's your theme song.
Yeah, I do some yodeling too.
You do some pretty terrific yodeling. You captured my heart from the first time you stood up on the stage, and that's your theme song. Is that your favorite song or not?
No.
What's your favorite song?
Commitment.
Really? You like it? Why? Do you like the words or the melody, or it makes you feel good, or what?
It makes me feel good.
Yeah. And you notice when you look at people out there singing, you know it makes them feel good too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's probably no greater pleasure in the world than being able to perform and having that wonderful God-given talent that you have, and to be able to share that with other people. That's pretty terrific, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, where do you go to school? I know you live right near here somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, I go to Westport, New York.
No, if we can, maybe we should take 3 or 4 years off from, we got so much going on in your life. You think you might make it? Have you ever been to Nashville?
No.
What do you think? You might like to sometime?
Yeah, I think it would be fun.
And then we'll go to Branson, then we'll go to London, then we'll go to Paris, then we'll take over Chicago and New York City and the entire West Coast, and then you'll come back and you won't even talk to Calvin and me. You'll say, those guys are small potatoes. Are you learning any new songs right now?
Yeah, I'm learning some Shania Twain.
Well, that's a pretty good person to want to be like. So you really enjoy singing, and we enjoy having you here. I know you deserve a little bit of break after working very hard for this group here today. But I want to ask you one thing. I want to tell you one thing. Don't ever lose that beautiful smile. Promise?
Promise.
You're terrific. Now we got to talk to the reason behind this whole phenomenon here. I forgot your first name already.
Janice
And
Gary.
Janice and Gary Johnson. Well, we know the last name. Tell me how this whole thing transpired. We've heard it in her words.
Yeah, well, she just, like she said, she just started singing along with Leanne Rimes on the television. And then after a while, we realized that she really enjoyed it and was sounding pretty good. So we bought her some CDs. and she started singing and playing with those daily. And then she got the Gary ordered some karaoke music. And
oh boy, that's what started it, Gary.
Well, we wanted to get her some music without the words so that we could hear her better. You know, she sounded really good with while she was singing along with other stars, and we thought, gosh, she sounds really nice. Let's get her something so that we can hear her and see how she sounds by herself and see how she does by herself. And it just went from there. She really enjoyed it, and she liked to hear herself. And then other people that would come over really enjoyed her and started asking her to sing, and I think that's
winning contests.
yeah. We entered her in some contests, and actually she's won everything she's entered.
How could she help it? Look at her. If she never sang a note, she'd win a contest. So how'd you come up with the name?
Juliana Johnson, Little Cowboy Sweetheart. That one?
Yeah, we know we know Juliana. Where'd that name come
Oh,
from?
Juliana? I don't know. It was just he wanted Juliet. I wanted Juliana. I won over.
Okay, always Gary.
Well, yeah, we like unusual names. All our kids kind of have unusual names. We have a Janalisa.
I heard about that. Calvin was telling me now she's a basketball player. No?
She's
Yes. See, I know that.
In the Miss Teen of America pageant this weekend, in fact. Yeah,
I should have guessed that.
yeah, she's involved in that, and there's
Well,
Jeremy.
Yeah, we've got a Jeremy, we've got a Joe Ryan, and Elena. And so they're all kind of unusual names, a little bit unusual. Yeah.
Very unusual family. Are you guys originally from Essex County?
No, we're from Oklahoma.
That's what, I detected just a little bit of an Oklahoma accent, but I didn't want to say that. I thought maybe it's something you adopted just for your daughter's career.
No, in fact, she was born in Dallas, Texas.
Come on.
So, yeah, that's where she was born.
You're from Dallas, Texas. That's why your voice is so big. Everything in Texas is twice as big. So how did you guys end up in this part of the country?
Well, I was trying to get on with the telephone company in my area where I came from, and they just weren't hiring at the time. And so I just looked around the country to see where telephone work was, and that's where we ended up here. The local telephone company hired me. And so we decided we'd come out here. We'd never heard. We actually went to Plattsburgh in the first place. And when they told me Plattsburgh, I'd never even heard of it before. And but that's where we ended up. And it's a beautiful country here. My gosh,
Is there any more beautiful part of the world?
It's beautiful. And when we were moving up here, someone told us, they said, "You're moving to God's country." And when we came up here, you could tell that it is.
This
It's
is where he
beautiful.
started it. I'm pretty sure.
sure.
That's when I first came up here. And actually, I lived up here as a youngster and then moved back up here in the early 60s. And once you get your roots down,
Yeah,
you discover, this is not a bad place to live.
it's true. It's a
You
great
look
place to
out
be.
your door and you see those mountains and that lake and all the great history. There's so much history connected with this part of the North Country. Natural beauty, nice fresh air, and it's not a bad place to raise a family, Gary.
it's a super place. The people of Westport are extremely nice, and once you get to know them, it's just like family around here. It's just a real small community, and everyone kind of looks out for each other. It's a really nice place to be.
The truth, I think you guys may stick around for a while.
I hope so.
Unless that daughter of yours takes you to Branson, Missouri, or some crazy place like that. Or maybe you can have, let me see. Now let's look 5 years in the future and let's build you a beautiful big stage and a building in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That way I can see you every springtime. There are a lot of neat places down in Myrtle Beach. But anyway, she loves to sing, and as long as she loves to sing, you're going to encourage her.
Oh, of course. Yes, definitely.
On a more serious note, Gary, do you ever worry about going too fast, too far, too fast?
Yeah, I do. Matter of fact, what I'm kind of worried about is, we're new to the industry, and we've got some people that actually want to take her down to Nashville and let her meet. We've got one of the owners of one of the record companies down there that would like to meet her. And that's all new to us, and to get to know them and to get to know what they're like. They're different people from different part of the country, for one thing, and we need to get to know them and get to know what they're like, and get to know really the workings of the business, the entertainment industry. So we've got a lot to learn, and we'll just let her kind of take us along the way, with her talent, and we'll try to take care of her mainly, and make sure that she's taken care
You
of.
gotta learn what's the hype and what's the truth
Yeah,
and who's your real friend.
that's true.
Who's your buddy and who's somebody else. Like you said, you got to learn it from the inside out.
That's true.
Now,
Well,
what-
someone was saying before, they said, afraid she's going to grow up too fast. I said, well, her brothers and sisters are going to keep her right, right
That's
there.
the beauty of having a family. That's for sure. You guys do any singing?
He does,
Do
yeah.
you, Gary? Like, tell me about it.
Well, I don't do country music. I do, matter of fact, I do songs that I don't necessarily like, but it's songs that are suited for my voice. So I do things like the Righteous Brothers songs, and I do some Frank Sinatra and things like Andy Williams, things like that. Yeah, we even do some opera songs with one of my daughters, yeah.
Now, maybe we could do a little side act here called the Johnson Trio.
Oh, I don't know about me.
I got a name for it, the Magical Johnson Trio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be neat? You'd have to wear special kind of sneakers, though, right, for that act? You guys are wonderful. You're a charming family.
Thank you.
I wish you the best in everything you do, and we are going to be watching you. I don't have to tell her to make us proud. As long as she's got that smile, she's got anything anybody could ever want. Best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know why she acts so shy. She's
Okay.
not really shy,
Barry, she's just humble because she's impressed by Calvin. He just looks like a big star back there. Best of luck, guys. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
allowing us into your lives.
Thank you. We're glad you enjoyed the
See
show.
you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, this is what the boys from upstate New York sound like. You heard us interview Gary Finney a little while ago in our program called Our Little Corner, and now you get to hear what they sound like in person and live. And this crowd of thousands at the 150th Essex County Fair in Westport, New York likes the sound as well. It's great to see the old songs still make it with these audiences and with many others.
The song's called Throw Your Rosin on the Ground. Here's a little jambalaya for you, Cajun style. Goodbye, Joe. We gotta go up my hood. We gotta go pour a little girl down the aisle. I'm born the sweetest woman up my hood. So we're gonna have a little fun on the line. St. John's light, Rutgers pie, filet gumbo. Oh, now we're gonna sing my Jeremy. Big guitar, fill the jar, and we get it. So we're gonna have a little fun on the line.
Well, Trippy Joe and Apollo go with a place of buzzing. Get folks down to see ball by the dozen. A dressing style all the while, real wild. Son of a gun, well, that big fun on the farm. Well, gentle light, poppers, pie, Billy Gumbo. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna see my Michelle Leo. It gets hard, open jar and be dead. Son of a gun, well, that big fun on the farm.
Settle down, boy, I'm down by the river. You don't look kids, you're the best there in the line. Well, I'm in fun, what she's gonna up my hood. Oh, we're gonna have a little
Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Just want to come in down and set a spell, doesn't it? These North Country boys, Northern New York boys, are kind of neat, aren't they? They got displaced folks from as far away as the other end of Clinton County and the northern end of Clinton County, and from Alaska and who knows where. But they play the old-time music, and people kind of love it here. I bet you they wish they had a lot more people here at this year's 150th fair. Yeah, I don't know if this is the BPOE order of the Elk 620 from Plattsburgh, New York, but this is a magnificent creature representing the North Country Taxidermy, Keene, New York. Last year we were able to look at this exhibit and interview some of the youngsters that were seeing these animals for the first time, and it's maybe the only way you get to see some of these animals is in this state. Some of them that used to be native to the North Country, like the cougar, the mountain lion, are very rarely seen, and when they are, the experts are hard put to believe that they exist. But I've talked to people who've seen them in the tracks. What were you going to say?
When you see them, you don't want to see them very long anyway.
No, you want to make sure you got those running sneakers on we were talking about a long time ago, that's for sure. We have such a wonderful part of the country, as several people have already told us, a lot of great nature to enjoy as you drive through. It's always fun for us to come down Route 9, to head south off the beaten track in the Adirondack Northway. We were earlier today doing a program at Port Henry for the opening of the brand new mining museum there, Mining and Railroad Museum, and it showed pictures, photographs of the big, huge slag heaps outside the mines and how much of it had to be moved for the building of the Adirondack Northway. It makes you feel a little older when you realize the Northway was completed in 1967. It's hard to believe. And every now and again, those of us who have an opportunity because we have a job to do or simply because we enjoy doing it, get off the beaten path and come down Route 9 and look at the natural beauty. And I hope that you and your family were among those who got a chance to view the Essex County Fair here in Westport this year. You notice that the rain, which was falling rather heavily about an hour ago, has stopped, and there is a semblance of sunshine out again. We're in the conservation area, by the way, and there are some live animals. There are representatives from the Essex County Fish Hatchery and Crown Point. There's a blacksmith here whom we hope to be interviewing before we finish our program here today. And lots of other things to see and do at the Essex County Fair for 1998. Count it, 150. Well, we're here with the blacksmith at the Essex County Fair. And that wasn't a poor man's siren. He was just trying to blow up the fire a little bit and get it hot down inside. And it's getting hot in there, isn't it?
Hot enough.
Oh, you can see the flame coming up through. It has to make...
Fire down in the center is about 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit.
You wouldn't want to sit there for more than a minute and a half, would you?
People ask me if I get burned. I say you don't like the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah, you got that right. I see you working very gingerly around there, but after you get burned a few times, you try to avoid it, I guess.
40 years of practice.
Yeah, 40 years of practice. What exactly are you doing right now?
What am I doing right now? I am heating a piece to undo something and redo it.
Ah.
Nobody bats 1,000. That was glass that just melted out of there.
Was it really?
Yep.
Ooh, we can feel the heat. Man, if it gets cool tonight, I'll know where to go. That's for sure. I bet that vise wasn't made yesterday either, was it?
No, but you can still buy them today.
Can you really?
Oh, yeah. From Centaur Forge, you pay $1,280.
Oh, my goodness. Is this some kind of a stand that you're making? Or?
No. This is a candlestick.
Ah, I see what you're doing. Wow. I would do that gingerly if I were you too, baby.
All I gotta do is do it fast before she falls and breaks the glass.
Oh, is that what happens? Okay.
You not know what I went through. How many years I hunted for some of these big old-fashioned marbles.
I saw you reaching down there for your little jug under the table over there. Yeah, your little stash of marbles.
And I think I got it.
I don't think it'll be falling out of there. I
No.
think that's pretty
All
neat.
I gotta do is break the blue glass off here, but I may decide just to leave it.
Don't be touching that. It's still hot, isn't it?
No!
Oh, okay.
It's
What?
still hot, believe me. I know that. My mama didn't raise that many fools.
Don't be touching it with a hand that doesn't have the glove on it anyway.
Down here, yes, it'd be hotter than...
It would be, huh?
Oh, yeah, still hot down there.
What makes a person want to
I
be...
got it. Take a look.
Oh, that's
Bright
pretty...
ruby red one that'll reflect the flame.
Yeah, that's neat.
That's going to be a chandelier.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, like that one.
Oh, like the one we got over in the corner, but with a marble
I
in it.
hunted for this. Look. Now, if you question how hot that fire is,
Don't be... Hey, he touched
that's
it again.
melted glass.
Isn't that
That's
amazing?
molten glass there.
Wow.
In other words, this fire's hot enough a glass blower could work in it.
That's kind of neat.
Is one of the things I don't know a whole heck of a lot about, except that with these old marbles, I'm taking my life in my hand because they're all heavy metal glass.
Yeah, that's true too,
That's
yeah.
probably either Steuben or Bohemian Ruby in that one. But he's in a cage and he'll roll. And he don't drop out.
Isn't that neat?
That's something I've wanted to do for so many years and never been able to find the glass to do it.
You finally found some, huh?
Yep. I found 10 bags of marbles, 11 bags of marbles that had some old shooters in them.
Well, that brings back memories for me, huh?
Well, it does for me too. But dear God, you've got no idea how precious old marbles are today.
Yes, I know they are.
And you can't find them anywhere.
I don't think kids even play marbles anymore, do they?
No, people our age collect them.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I got an old Red Cross first aid tin box. Like, you remember the old metal lunch pails that you used to take? Oh, Calvin, you're such a young guy. Yeah, Ralph Gramden. The old metal lunch boxes we used to take to... Well, I got one of those that was actually a first aid box out in my garage.
Yeah, I got one too that was my father's first aid kit when he was a lifeguard 70 years ago.
Oh, wow. Anyway.
5 years ago, because he was 87 when he died, and that's 6 years ago.
Isn't that amazing? And mine's full of marbles. Maybe a few that I didn't lose as a kid. I wasn't a very good marble player. And we got a woman who is my age who lives in the town of Scholar Falls now, who happened to grow up in the same town I did, called Messina Center near Messina, and she was the champion marble player. I've given this story before.
Wasn't she related to the Cutlers?
Yeah, she could have been, but she was really
Do
good.
you remember any of the Cutlers from Messina?
I don't think so. I lived there back in the 1940s and right up till about 1950, I think.
Well, Cynthia Cutler was one of the middle ones. She married my uncle, my aunt by marriage. And do you know anything about Potsdam?
Oh, just a little bit.
The Maple Street Shell Station, Martin's.
Do I know Martin's?
My mother's brother!
Come on.
Leon Martin is
How-
my mother's brother.
How many times do you think that those people have taken me in off the road with broken cars? And I remember
And
one
always
time...
willing to come. Sometimes they charge a little more than you wanted to pay, but
It didn't matter. I remember one time when my wife's old Pontiac broke down and he said, well, now let me see, my grandson's building a hot rod. I think the springs in that hot rod will fit that Pontiac. Just a minute. He wasn't very happy with his family, but I was very happy after we got some new springs on my wife's old Pontiac. Who could ever forget Martin's garage, right?
Leon is not doing real good. He's got Parkinson's real bad
Oh,
now.
that's a shame. I haven't seen him in
Mom's
many
taking
years.
care of- Mother was June Martin.
Oh my goodness. See how small the world is? Had to come to the Essex County Fair to get the true scoop, didn't we? How
There.
did?
Now it's straight and it's still in there.
Yeah, I love it. You did a masterful job.
That's going to be a beautiful chandelier.
Yeah, that's
I
really,
won't
really
use that.
nice.
I'll just beeswax it.
How many different kinds of things do you make?
Just about anything that somebody asks for.
Whatever it is, you'll try it, huh?
I'll try it, and you know, I figure if I'm too old to learn, I'm too old.
I love it.
I am 55, I'll be 56 years old in a matter of days. We're not going to talk about how many, but this fall. And I don't know it all. And I
No.
don't think any one blacksmith ever did.
But half the fun is learning, right?
Well, if, like I said, if you're too old to learn, you're too old.
Yeah. You're going to turn that crank and pump it up a little bit more, huh?
No, now I've got to draw it down a little bit so I can make the up splines for the candle cups and the drip plates. What I do is draw it down a little bit and thread it into a 1/4-inch bolt, put a nut on it to brace it, and then go from there. And I got to bring in some 1/4-inch nuts and my threading dies tomorrow.
That's a terrific occupation in this day and age. You wouldn't think there'd be room for blacksmiths, but do you really?
Yeah, at the 1812 homestead. The brochures are right over there.
That's a fun way to spend the summer, huh?
No, I spend year-round, and I have for 12 years.
Have you really?
Yeah, I quit a high-stress job. This is smell the roses for me.
That's good.
And it's rewarding. In the floral hall, there are 3 iron pieces displayed. Mine took the red ribbon. There are 2 blue ribbons, one juvenile, one adult. The 2 that beat me are my students.
That makes you feel pretty good, doesn't it?
I like it.
I love it.
Well, if I'm going to teach somebody, I'd rather teach them well enough so they end up knowing something, maybe going a step beyond me. David and Michael Karsh. Michael has artistic vision. David has persistence, both of which are valuable qualities.
I would think so.
They're 15 and 17 years old, and unfortunately, they've reached the conclusion that they can't make their living doing decorative blacksmith, but they share a hobby for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
And it's brought them a lot closer together as brothers. There was sibling rivalry, there always is between kids that are 2 years apart. They still have their tiffs and arguments, but they've begun to realize that they're human beings, both of them, and that's good for them.
Yeah. You got to do that with every leg, right?
Yes, and I've got to cut
Yep.
3 of them off. And I'm going to do that before I bend that one, because that way I'll have a mark to shoot at.
That's kind of neat. Thanks so much for talking with us.
You're more than welcome.
What's your
May
first-
I ask who I've been talking to?
My name is Gordy Little,
Gordy Little.
and your name is Martin.
Bill Umber.
Oh, Bill Umber.
It was my mother that was a Martin.
Oh, okay. This
My
is
father's
Martin
family
Castine.
were from Jay,
Are you
and they've
really?
been iron workers for a great many generations.
Oh, yeah.
My great-grandfather was the last forge master for J&J Rogers and closed the foundries.
See that? Wait till I'll tell James Rogers III that when I see him the next time.
His great-grandfather
Yeah.
came from England to help build them
Isn't that neat?
in the 1790s.
So you got a heritage, huh?
Well, see, 1998 is the bicentennial year for the village of Jay
Yep.
and for the Baptist Church in Jay. And that ancestor was a charter member.
Oh, God, isn't that great?
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
It really does.
And we've been in the area for a great many years and a great many vicissitudes and problems. I grieve over the covered bridge.
Boy, you aren't the only one.
Well,
think
we wouldn't be here. The Umbers wouldn't be here today John Benjamin Umber's descendants wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the covered bridge. In 1884, the Rogers Company brought in a herd of cattle, longhorns, for the commissariat, fat them, butcher them. They walked them up from the railhead, or from Sable rather, from the railhead to Jay, with the end result that they got wind of the river and they stampeded. And Grandpa was 6 years old. He shinned up one of the bridge risers and laid on one of the overlays with 60 sets of hooves and horns under him. And the horns were 6 feet across. He laid there till they got him. They broke the stampede there on the bridge and corralled him there and then got him off.
What a great story.
He always swore he owed his life to the bridge, which at that time was almost new.
Oh boy, no wonder you're brokenhearted.
Well,
what are they going to do? Are they going to fix it or what?
They put in a bloody temporary, and they claim they're going to restore it, but I'm not holding my breath. There was no need to take it down. They could have put the temporary somewhere else instead of having to use those abutments.
A lot of controversy, wasn't there, huh? It still is.
Well, I don't think the Board of Supervisors of Essex County are very popular for it. There may be factors I don't understand or appreciate, but I don't think the bridge had to move. Considering it was one of the last functional covered bridges in New York State, I think it should have been preserved as a matter of history.
Yeah, we don't have the same luxury that Vermont has, do we, huh?
We don't have as many of them.
No.
We never did. At least not after 1860, 1870. Because we went to iron bridges relatively early here because the iron supply was plentiful.
I guess it was.
And Vermont kept building covered bridges for 100 years after we quit. Actually, the state found out a while ago in Vermont that the payback on wooden bridges, considering the cost compared to steel, they're more cost effective.
Isn't that amazing?
They'll last about half as long as a steel bridge, between a third and half as long, and they cost a tenth to build.
Not to mention the tremendous charm of those covered bridges. Wow. That's one of the first things I saw when I came up here.
Well, thank God Electra Halfmeyer Webb had the courage to preserve that one double bridge at Shelburne.
Oh, yes. Isn't that neat?
That was the only one, double, 2-lane with a walkway that I have ever heard of. There were a lot of them 2-lane, and there were a lot of uncovered bridges here in New York State even that were 2 lanes wide.
Yep.
There was one down near it's west of Albany, on the Great Road, that was, they measured the length in miles, a wooden bridge.
That's kind of
and
incredible.
they carried Conestoga wagons.
No kidding. I didn't even know
Eddie,
that.
what's up?
He's been getting the background on how this equipment works and how we can have a remote microphone. I heard Calvin explaining it in the background. It's kind of fun. We're going to move along a little bit, but it's kind of neat to watch somebody who's creative and to know that there was it's like building a ship inside a bottle there. You have to get it just wide enough, and he didn't get it right the first time, but he's getting it right now. I'm sure a lot of kids would like to get into his stash of marbles over here as well. He's got a little can with the big ones underneath the table and the small ones up above. Well, we're going to take a look around, see what else we can see at the Essex County Fair. Well, you know, like the blacksmith said, his mama didn't raise too many fools, so I know enough not to get too close to the fire and too close to the sharp side of anything inside this little shed. We were beckoned here. Who was that guy that beckoned us here, anyway?
He's my PR man, Larry Scoble.
Yeah, isn't he? He's amazing. He's like that. He's like that bear I met in the woods one time. Was going like this, and I wasn't watching him. I was going the other day.
I heard that story.
You have? Yeah. Well, we won't get into the rest of that story right here at all. What's your name?
Scott Porter.
Scott, tell us what you got here.
They're handcrafted knives. I start with bar stock, and I do a process called stock removal. and I do them from start to finish, including the heat treating. And they're no fun until they start shaping up.
You know, it's like the blacksmith. You don't hardly know what's going on until you get it going a ways. How did you get involved with this?
Actually, I started in 1979. A supervisor that I worked for in General Motors, he and I started on our lunch breaks at the shop, and a piece of equipment at a time, I got enough to do it myself at home. And been doing it that way probably since 1985, as a hobby more than anything. But I've retired from General Motors in February, relocated to beautiful Adirondack Mountains, and it's still a sidelight.
Well, it's got to be fun. You got to be proud. How many have you made?
Approximately 380.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, these things, it doesn't take 7 minutes to make one of these things.
No, if you have the proper equipment, it cuts down on the time quite a bit. But it's taken me a few years to get the proper equipment and supplies, access to the supplies and the handle materials I've accumulated over the years.
Now, what kinds of things are you using for handles? Are you using real horn, or is that simulated? Or?
No, that's white-tailed deer antler on a couple of these knives. This is Sambar stag from India. That's the mainstay of the diet of the Bengal tiger. This is probably 50,000 years old. That's mastodon ivory.
Come on.
Yeah.
You could easily snow me, you know. I'd believe whatever you told me, but...
I'm on TV. I got to tell the truth.
Is that really?
Yeah. It comes up through the permafrost in Alaska, and the native Alaskans are allowed to commercially harvest it and sell it.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
I would never imagine that they would be allowed to sell it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's not an endangered species anymore.
Sure.
So.
Even though they do manage to find a whole one of those creatures every once in a while.
Yeah, they do. And this is the ivory. This is a bark ivory, the outside of the tusk from a woolly mammoth. That also came from the Inuits and the Eskimos. So that stuff's hard to come by, but if you get, if you get an opportunity, we knife makers generally jump on it.
Boy, that's really, really neat. What a great hobby. It's got to be satisfying.
It's satisfying. The finished product's satisfying. I've had a lot of blisters and a lot of scraped knuckles from the equipment that I use, but yeah, it's satisfying.
What does it take for equipment?
I have disc grinders, belt grinders that I do the hollow grind on the blade with. I've got 2 buffing motors that are 2 horsepower motors that they're probably the most dangerous piece of equipment in my shop. And I have a heat treat oven. I do my own heat treating. Band saws, 2 band saws.
And you've made 300 and some odd.
I've made approximately 380 knives, yeah.
Now, do you do special order stuff for people, or how do people find out about what you do?
Well, I've got a business card there, and this is the first show I've actually.
Is it really?
Yeah,
You're on the ground floor here.
Well, I sold about approximately 260 knives to the fellows I worked with back in Ohio, and that was my biggest market. And I'm just getting started in New York State. So
I think you ought to send a nice long letter with a photograph or a sample to LL Bean and get yourself on the map here.
I've been to LL Bean years ago, and I got the number of the purchasing agent.
Oh, you did? He's a step ahead of me. I should have known.
But like I said, I just retired from GM, and I don't know how busy I want to get. There's a lot of fishing and a lot of hunting in the Adirondacks. I'm concentrating more on that right now than anything.
So you've been here for a few days, and this is your first show. Has it been fun?
I've been here since February. My wife and I moved here in February into Keene Valley, and just love it. We couldn't wait to get up here. This is the most gorgeous part of the United States I've ever been in.
Well, you're about the 15th person that's told us that today, and most of the people that talk to us about that beauty are people who are transplants from anywhere from Oklahoma to South Carolina. But once you get up here, it does have a tendency to get in your blood, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and I think the biggest draw, other than the beauty, is the people. Really like the people up here.
So it's kind of fun to have your first show here and meet a few people.
Very much. Very enjoyable.
Have you had any real orders yet? Or?
I've had a lot of inquiries, but I really don't think people come to the fair to buy a knife. I think they come to buy French fries, cotton candy, but the exposure's been good, and a lot of people have taken my cards, so maybe something in the future will turn up.
I hope it does. You have an amazing talent here, and you're a charming individual. Thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you, fellas.
Now you're going to discover the child in Gordy Little, Calvin Castine. Calvin's holding on real tight back there. I hope this thing doesn't start too fast. We're trying to decide where to finish our program today, and Calvin had a suggestion. How about the carousel? Or as we called it when we were kids, the merry-go-round. In my fondest dreams, I have memories of the music played and merry-go-rounds. In those days, they were actual piano rolls that were played with the calliopes. Sometimes they had traveling calliopes, but very often they were connected with the merry-go-round. The only thing more charming than riding on the carousel or the merry-go-round at the 150th Essex County Fair would be the 15th of Redford, which claims to have the most ancient merry-go-round in the United States. I must confess that I have been on it many, many years ago, but in lieu of that, we're going to do it here today at the Essex County Fair. A moment ago, we saw the little Johnson girl, part of that magical Johnson trio that we talked about, riding on the crazy school bus, which is a little bit behind us, and she had a big smile on her face, and whoever was with her at the moment said, now it's time for a little fun time. And even though a little girl like that looks like she's having a lot of fun when she's singing, it's a lot of hard work, and we were delighted to see her having a little fun, as an 8-year-old girl should be. I don't know about you, but I've had a ball at the Essex County Fair in 1998. I kind of regret that many, many more people didn't come and take advantage of this fair. It's like many of the other special places this program called Our Little Corner is visited. It gives you a good feeling to be here. It's like St. Anne's Shrine. I can't wait to go back there with my wife and enjoy the feeling I get when I go to St. Anne's Shrine in Isle of Mott. It's like the Adirondack Museum at Blue Mountain Lake. It's like the few hours we spent this morning at a wonderful historic place, which culminates with telling of the historic story of the mining and the railroads here in the Port Henry, Mineville area of Essex County. It's like being here today to celebrate the 150th anniversary, the sesquicentennial of the Essex County Fair. For me, it's been a great time, and I hope the eye of the hometown television, hometown cable camera has been able to capture a little bit of that joie de vivre that we've captured here today. I want everybody to know that I haven't had any sausage sandwiches yet, but I will chow down when I get home later tonight with my wife and family. I want to thank you all for watching our program on a weekly basis wherever you get it. If it's not available in your hometown, make sure you talk to your cable system and say, hey, I know of a cool little program that you ought to be airing, and maybe we'll be on back home where you live. In the meantime, you know, you never know where we're going to be next time for the program called Our Little Corner.